Hola amigos, bienvenidos a un nuevo video de mi canal. Por aquí Andy. Para los que no me conocen, hoy vamos a estar jugando este juego que se llama Pines. Es un juego que realmente me llama la atención por su historia. Creo que comienza con un libro y podemos jugar o afectar la narración del juego, así como el gameplay como tal según las decisiones que tomemos. Entonces vamos a empezar y recuerda suscribirte, darle like y compartir, y así me ayudarás muchísimo a crecer en mis redes sociales. También estoy en Instagram, en TikTok y en Facebook. Por favor, suscríbete y acompáñame.
Dear reader,
Querido lector,
allow me to introduce you to my book.
déjame introducirte al libro.
Many books you've come across. It is far from ordinary. It may therefore have some misunderstandings about its nature. The story that awaits you has not been fully told.
Ok, este libro no es un libro como los demás y la historia que te espera no ha sido contada. El final no es conocido por nadie. Ok, sin nosotros no hay historia.
Normal isn't what it used to be.
Este es el capítulo 1, lo normal no es lo que solía ser. Esta es una historia de cambio. Ok, se desarrolla en esta ciudad de Pines. Ok, este es nuestro protagonista, Luca. Ok, hola papá. ¿Cómo están las cosas? Hoy es el primer día de las vacaciones de verano. Tenía 6 años cuando moriste. Este árbol era tu favorito. Hola Luca. Este es Rolo. Su mamá murió también, qué triste. Ah, no. Está desaparecida. Él tiene la esperanza de que va a regresar. Chico. Tell Granby for heading out with Rolo. O sea, que le digamos a la abuelita.
Dear reader, forgive me for this interlude. Remember that charm you found in the dandelion? There are more of those special charms to discover throughout Beacon Pines. They've been known to reveal themselves to those who are willing. Some of them can be found in this very house.
Ok, tenemos que conseguir más charms. Okay.
Just some dusty knickknacks.
Algo por aquí. Ya.
Since Gran had moved in, the house was more peaceful and more covered in flowery fabric. One of his father's old stethoscopes, Luca had spent countless hours listening to anything and everything. Not for years, though. An array of prepared meals crowded the room, each labeled with the day of the week.
Ok, la abuelita nos dejó comida.
A pair of dull scissors, a broken can opener, a mostly empty bottle of glue, and some loose string.
Junk.
Oh my, this is quite exciting.
Ahí está la abuelita.
I'm certain that you are the one I've been waiting for all these years. Lucas stared at his feet and muttered under his breath. Right, of course. I forgot.
Bueno, vayamos a cambiarnos. Aquí no hay nada. Esta habitación está como desordenada.
Luca tossed on his favorite old sweater. Even though it was the first day of summer, a chill still hung in the air. Gran's moving in meant that most of Luca's things had been crammed in the corner. Luca was somewhat annoyed by the situation. Gran's bed was undisturbed. Luca didn't mind that she had a habit of falling asleep in front of the fireplace. It meant that he could read late into the night.
Ahí en esta
Gran
casa.
had commandeered the upstairs closet when she moved in. Some things need shelter from a young boy's mischief, she said.
Hide.
Luca paused at his parents' bedroom door. He just wasn't ready to go in yet.
Ah, me toca a mí. A ver. Vamos a ver qué nos sale. Ah, pero no. ¿Quién le tocaba? A Diego.
Diego, pero ya le digo ahorita.
Ah, bueno. Aquí está el teléfono. Ok, ya le dijimos a la abuelita.
The less Gran knew, the better for everyone involved.
Ok, we're gonna chill for the day. Vamos a escoger este.
We were just gonna go chill for the day.
Es lo que más combina aquí.
The best lies are built on truth. Easy. Impressive. You've managed to navigate your first turning point without too much of a mess. That is the power of charms. A single word can change. I think it's time to introduce you to the
The Chronicle. ¿Qué será esto?
The Chronicle is a record of the decisions you've made.
Ok, son las decisiones que tomamos.
You can see the turning point, which has been revealed.
Ok, tenemos los puntos claves. Y de acuerdo a lo que vayamos escogiendo, en algunos casos podemos regresar a alguno de estos puntos claves y cambiar la historia. Así que esto es lo que lo hace interesante. Ok, podemos hacer nuevas ramas de la historia. Ok, vamos a abrir el día 20, que también nos toca hoy. A ver, graba aquí con el teléfono. Oh, uno negro, como una iguana negra. Tenemos una iguanita negra en el calendario de adviento de Pokémon.
Ah, Diego y yo nos tocó dos.
¿En serio?
Sí, mira, eso le tocó a Diego.
Es un corfish. Caballito de mar. Sí, y se puede convertir en...
Ok, que no nos metamos en problemas. ¿Vieron eso? Dice don't get y aquí él anotó get. Oh, por aquí. Ah, no, aquí. Okay, dice
For a
welcome.
town that saw a few visitors, the
to be
welcome was
compounds.
perhaps more grand than necessary.
Y la bendición. Y
Chapter
hola, papá,
2.
¿cómo amaneciste? Porque me he ido para allá.
Okay.
Welcome to Beacon Pines. For many years, this valley had been a small mining outpost. It wasn't until Sharper Valentine built his fertilizer company that Beacon Pines was established. Over the next 30 years, until the foul harvest. In the 6 years since, everyone was simply trying to get by. William Kerr was the CEO of Perennial Harvest Company. He had become a fixture around town over the past few years. After the failing of Valentine fertilizer, the town was hungry to welcome a new source of income. The boys had a good thing going, as long as they kept old Jeff happy. They had an endless source of precious materials to add to the treehouse. On certain nights, when the clouds were just right, the boys could tune into strange patterns of static. Rollo thinks it's aliens. He always thinks it's... Mr. Sinclair continued snoring and lifted one eyelid just enough to see who it was, a tactic he often used to avoid undesirable He pulled a pen from the pocket of his sweater vest and began to frantically jot something down on a clipboard. Pete stopped scribbling and glanced up from the clipboard. Oh, right. Rhonda, this is an important turning point. The first time where your charms will change the course of... And currently, we only have one suitable charm in our display. Have no fear, we can always return later using the Chronicle once we find more charms. Well, now I'm just rambling. Where were we? Rollo froze as Roxy took a step toward him, cracking her knuckles. Luca knew he had one chance to save his friend from being dragged home. In the past, he found the best way to deal with an enraged Roxy was to be a little chill. Holden Wilder ran the local The Beacon. Jeff's hardware closed down about a year ago. The effects of the foul harvest stretched wide. When there are no crops in the field, tractors don't need fix. A promise Gran regretted the second it was made. The path led into a small hollow at the... The fence thrummed with a gentle Luca often asked himself what Rollo would do, so that he could rule out that option. One more to go. The fence's buzzing gave... Every kid in town knew the old Valentine fertilizer building. Long abandoned, the warehouse once served as the industrial heart of... Now, it stood only as a reminder of things left behind. The dormant building showed strange signs of life. There was only one way to find out. Luca thought he heard faint sounds coming. He pressed his ear against the cold metal. The sound of footsteps grew loud. The heavy steel door knocked Luca to the ground. Disoriented, he looked up to see an imposing figure silhouetted in a green. It lunged toward him. He tried to scramble away, but felt a gloved hand latch onto his ankle. Luca watched his fingernails leave trails in the dirt as the hand slowly dragged him back through the door into the lab. This is a story about change. It was far from the sort of change Luca imagined, but change is, after all, the end? I probably should have warned you about this. There are many paths that our story can take. Most will end in tragedy, but don't let that discourage you. We will find the ending that this story deserves. From here on out, a charm will have a check mark when it's been used to its full potential at a given turning point. Now, let's try something different. In the past, he found the best way to deal with an enraged Roxy was to be a little shit. As the glowing windows of the old warehouse The boy sat petrified under the weight of the bag. Rollo felt around. He snapped off a tag from just within a small zipper opening in the bag. Rollo held the badge up to a faint shaft of light with a... Luca sat in the dark, tracking the sound of Rollo's footsteps as he ran. 1, 2, 3. He pressed his ear to the dumpster wall, straining to hear Rollo's footsteps as they faded away. 15, 16, 17, 35, 36, 37. The thick stench made it hard to breathe. Screw it, that's long. Luca carefully lifted the lid. Nothing. No sign of Rollo. No sign of the man. Time to haul ass. Luca
Que así
clambered
es
from the
como
dumpster,
cambiamos la
stumbling to his...
historia.
He was up like a shot and running,
Que ya
sprinting toward
llegó
home
al
as
final,
fast as he
sino
can. Times
que
flew by,
llegamos
blurred by the tears that
a un
welled up
nuevo
in his... He
capítulo.
wouldn't
Si te
remember getting
gustó
home
este
at all that
video,
night.
dale like,
Throwing his front door
suscríbete,
open, storming up the
comparte,
stairs to his room and
y nos
surrendering to
vemos
sleep
en un
almost
nuevo
as
video.
abruptly.
Bye.
Chapter 3.